Hey guys, I'm going to read to you today a bit about the history of the Book of Shadows. Now I've gathered all my information from Witch School International, which I am a member of. Now bear with me, I am dyslexic and I find it difficult sometimes reading out text, so bear with me, okay? It has been believed that Egypt was the origin of many of the earliest texts. It has been discovered that there were magical books in Egypt as far back as 5,000 years. Although magical wisdom books have been discovered in other areas. Early witch practitioners practiced an oral tradition passed down by word of mouth. As persecutions took place, rituals were written down so they wouldn't be lost. Covens met for rituals in the shadows. Therefore, the books became known as the Book of Shadows. Unfortunately, most of these books were later destroyed because others didn't understand what they were, or more likely, because they did understand and wanted them destroyed. Many of the rituals were written down in hieroglyphic or runic type of writing. This code handwriting could have been from lack of education or as a magical alphabet so that others couldn't read what was in the Book of Shadows. An outsider would not know what was written, therefore would not know what it was. There was usually only one book for a coven. Paper was expensive. Photocopies and printing presses weren't even heard of at the time, and it would take a long time to copy handwritten a huge Book of Shadows. And don't forget, witchcraft was grounds for hanging, and in Europe, burning. Some coven members may have had bits and pieces of the Books of Shadows, but there was only one complete Book of Shadows for each coven. It was usually kept by the one in charge of keeping record, or the High Priestess. This was the one item taken out of the house upon the coven member passing on to Summerland. Another coven member would enter and take the book, thus assuring that it was passed on to the next coven member in charge of record keeping. In 1949, Gerald Gardner wanted to replace the word grimoire with Book of Shadows. Doreen Ballantyne, a member of his coven, discovered this term was borrowed from the article published in the Occult Observer. The article was about an ancient Sanskrit manual known as the Book of Shadows, which taught how to tell a person's destiny by the length of their shadow. Sorry if it doesn't make any sense and that I've read it all wrong. I hope you enjoyed a little brief history into the history of the Book of Shadows. And if anyone's asking what music I'm listening to, it is the soundtrack to a great film called Sucker Punch, which I've really enjoyed because I'm into all that anime style filming and all that stuff. I'd recommend you check that film out. Thanks and blessed be.